All right, so we're gonna actually hang out here for a little bit. A storm's coming, so it'll be a little bit easier to do this from here. Hey, how are you? Thank you. Stay safe. So I'm gonna show you guys a little bit about, I guess, around this area again, until we get to another spot. But it's gonna rain, so we're gonna hang out for a little while. Take a little walk. So Hong's setting up a tripod, and we're gonna station here for a little bit, just in case something um, pops off. As of now, there are no updates, like whatsoever. Um, there's nothing, but we'll do a little walk around. Let me make sure that this is on the right channels. So give me a sec. Bear with me. Give me a minute. What? One sec, guys. Let me just ensure we have. Two minutes, and I'll be ready. Let me just throw this up. And I'll read you guys a few text messages I have. Nothing crazy. Sorry, you're looking at a bush. Just give me a second. All right, cool. So essentially, there is no update other than they're going to be doing like a. They're just patrolling the woods, hoping for movement. There have been no tips or sightings today. What you guys are seeing is quite normal, given the fact that there's nothing. Let me see what my latest message here is that I can share. So yeah, people are saying I saw that there was a prison van that came here. Yeah, that's just here. That's just here. That's it. There's not a sighting or anything. It's not here to do anything except be here. I'm not sure what its purpose is. Actually, none of my law enforcement sources are sure why it's here, but it has nothing to do with Cavalcante. That's nothing at all. It's not related. Well, it's related, but they don't know why it's here. So there's no major update. We have every time we plan to do like a walkthrough or something, it gets ready to rain. So this area has a lot of trees, and then we can set up underneath the car and the canopies over there. But as I was saying earlier, there are spots like this scattered um, everywhere in this area. Let me walk on the other side so I don't upset a neighbor. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to show you guys basically what I'm talking about. So we have like stuff like this, little like nooks and crannies where somebody can uh, hide, you know. Let's see. You you guys see. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go a little bit further over here. So we're like, I put the intersection. I think it's Longwood and Conservatory, but like, the landscaping and stuff. I'm sure that this is just an example of like areas of how this guy's able to maneuver. I mean, these kind of little streams, and then they have creeks run rampant throughout the county, and it just gets, it makes it a lot harder to find somebody when you have little places like that where you can take cover and essentially hide out. And there's been no movement today by Cavalcante, no sight of him at all by law enforcement or anybody. So perhaps he's waiting until night, because remember, we're seeing a pattern now. Whenever there's a sighting, he kind of makes his way to a hiding spot and then stays low. So like, I'm not sure where that goes, but look, see what I'm talking about? Like, it's not far-fetched that he can be going in areas like that. It's not far-fetched at all. The last time they saw him was yesterday, so he couldn't have gotten too far. He definitely didn't get too far, but they're searching rather heavily. Longwood. You guys saw that I put up a photo of ground radar that was brought in by, I believe, the FBI to assist with detection on the ground. And that, from what I understand, is usually brought in as a last-ditch effort to clear an area. So right now, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to perhaps clear that section so they can move resources to another area of interest. Like, there's helicopters flying, but those aren't developments. We've seen that for 10 days. But when you look around how there's like little streams of water, like this is a tiny one compared to the creeks and the rivers, the river. And you guys saw sharpshooters above the overpass where the Brandywine is, and that's because they have reason to believe he's going to pop out from an area like the water or the train tracks. And that's the one thing that all of these, well, there's actually a few things, let's add them up. A few things that all of these sightings have in common. The first thing is that they all are nearby a body of water. The second thing is they are nearby train tracks. And the third thing, which was kind of interesting, and Hong brought this up, is that the sightings of him are in developments that are one way in and one way out, limiting access to that area. Therefore, he would see lights coming in, headlights, therefore spooking him. You can't go into that area without your headlights on because it's just so dark. And we showed you guys the night and day difference. We killed our lights and you couldn't see anything. Last night it was literally pitch black. And I know this isn't our style, hanging out in an area with a lot of police and stuff. I mean, law enforcement and media. We usually go the other way. But right now, there's literally not many areas with any activity. And not that we want to show you just useless activity. We're working to find a better spot. I'm waiting for the text back where we can kind of take you on a little tour. Hopefully it's not raining then, to show you guys the terrain. And as you guys know, if there's an update, you're going to hear it from us. Like, you'll hear it right away in real time as soon as I hear something. There hasn't been any hype, at least on our stream or coverage, and that's what we're trying to make sure we don't do, is hype you guys up and get you all excited for nothing. If there's a sighting that's confirmed by law enforcement, those are the sightings we're primarily putting, with the exception of yesterday. I think was the first time we put a dispatch sighting, maybe the second time, but that was because of the time gap. There was a 6-hour time gap from, we know they lost sight of Cavalcante at around 5:30, 6 o'clock, give or take. No later than about 6:30. I have to double check my texts. But the teams pulled out And there was a 6-hour time gap between then and that 911 call on Rosendale, which isn't a 5-hour walk, you know. So it was a possibility that he's in that area. And that's the important thing about this stream is we want to show people the areas of interest, to remain vigilant and report suspicious activity. I think neighbors in that area weren't aware of the activity related to Cavalcante until um, two or 3 days ago when we were there. And we were there before, somehow we got there by accident before law enforcement. And you guys saw the response. They were there. Helicopters were in the air for about 6 hours and planes were circling. So that area was an area of interest, but I don't think residents in that neighborhood knew that it was an area of interest per se, with the exception of the presence of air support. But it's important that you guys remain vigilant in case you hear something, in case you see something. You just never know. If you hear something out back, don't go investigating. If you live in a reasonable radius from Longwood or Kendall or Mendenhall or Waterglen or Lenape, and those in Delaware on the border. I mean, as of now, his last sighting officially was when I tweeted it yesterday. And today, the state police solidified that sighting that we told you about, that we learned of, those 2 sightings yesterday. They confirmed them today, but there hasn't been an update as far as him being seen. So right now, he's off the grid for the past about 24 hours. He's been off the grid. So he could have easily made a move either out of the gardens to another area nearby. Given you have to take into account that when they pulled out, they were rather sure that he wasn't in that vicinity anymore. So from that time until midnight, when the other 911 call came in, that's a 6-hour difference. And that call came in from an area where there was a barn. A man was seen running through the backyard near the barn, sneaking into the woods. Maybe it's not related, but nevertheless, there hasn't been a sighting at all since yesterday, early yesterday afternoon, when we told you guys that assets were being deployed that were waiting. They were going to wait till dusk, and instead they deployed them right away because that's how certain they were that they had seen them, and they were very confident, and it makes sense as to why. They wouldn't pull in resources early if they didn't have strong reason to believe that he was there. So yesterday was a confirmed sighting at the woods at Longwood. Since then, there's been no activity at all, with the exception of a 911 call that came in the area of Rosendale, which is near that Mendenhall hotel, that very nice, beautiful hotel, inn, restaurant, wedding hall. It's a beautiful property. It was nearby there, which kind of matches this guy's MO at this point. He's going to areas that have developments, that have train tracks that lead from the creek. We took you down the tracks briefly yesterday. We didn't want to go too far in just in case the grumpy guy came by, but we gave you an idea of his method of travel, and that he's been proven to do that. He's been proven to go around and utilize the creeks as a guide, utilize train tracks, surviving likely off of food that he's he's broken into 3 homes. 2 are confirmed burglaries, but I'm working to confirm the 3rd one. It came from somebody very close to the investigation, and it was the same exact items that were stolen. It was food, which is rather interesting. So perhaps he's getting tired of berries or corn or whatever else he's eating, and he needs something more of a nutritional value. But some residents are saying that a lot of that stuff is accessible at Longwood, like fresh water and whatnot is accessible at Longwood Gardens, and that's what's making this search so difficult, is the amount of resources in this community that aren't meant to harbor a fugitive. They're meant for the community, but fugitives can take advantage of that rather easily, and making it almost like a perfect destination for an escapee. And we kind of joked around last night saying maybe this guy just loves the area and he wants to live here. That's why he's not leaving, because he's going from point A to point B to point A to point B to point C to point A. So it's almost as if he doesn't want to leave Chester County and he wants to make it his home, or he's lost. We just don't know. It's a very bizarre route that he's taking. It's not your average manhunt anymore. You have just about every branch of the government, with the exception of the military, that's here. And I don't believe the military can get involved. I don't think that's something that they are able to do. But again, he could be eating mushroom soup. He could be at the mushroom festival. Like, you guys, at this point, anything's possible. And I'm wondering how many suspicious sightings are going to be called in from the festival, if any have been. I mean, the festival was today, if I'm not correct, or if I'm not wrong, right? The National Guard, I don't know. Maybe the state National Guard could come. They did provide a helicopter for the first night, but or the second day. I'm losing track. It's been so long. We didn't. I should have probably kept a spreadsheet had I known this guy was going to be Tarzaning through the region. And that's another thing to keep in mind. He was spotted in a tree as officers were below him, which is kind of bizarre as well. And it's a little bit. Now, at that mushroom festival, maybe other people are sweating as well. Is it like a I don't know much about it, I'm not gonna lie, so I don't really know anything about the festival per se, but a lot of areas, they're kind of hard to search. And just like this, say this is what we've been seeing, a perimeter in there, but what about here, and he's been able to slip through the perimeter time and time again and make it to these little like spurts of locations right outside of the perimeter. He's broken it quite a few times. No, I don't believe that. Whoever said that about him being found, I highly doubt that. Dead. Let me check my text, but that's, again, sorry guys, I shouldn't be reading comments as giving him a platform. But again, you guys see exactly what they're dealing with. And nobody's getting blocked. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys want to see the pipe again? And so right there is Longwood and Conservatory. And that's actually an interesting location. So I'll go and show you the wall in a minute. I can't get close to it, but they found a chunk of the wall. And they believe that it was Cavalcante that chipped it when he was jumping over that. It's literally like a waist-high wall that goes around. But here we go. But like, not that pipe. That pipe isn't what I'm interested in. It's what's next to that pipe. Let me get you guys that angle, because that's what's interesting. The pipe is kind of unrealistic. Nobody's gonna, I mean, it would be, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but compared to the other spot next to the pipe, I would say it's unusual that he would choose the pipe when there's something much, I don't know where that other part goes, but so there's an odd, and if the homeowner is watching this, let me know and come out so maybe I can get closer for people. But you guys see this, so it gets let me try to hop down for you. You guys can see how interesting these little areas are, and I don't know where even this part goes. Like, does it stop there? Because I can't see much further back, but it does look like it goes in. But you just can't tell. And there's areas like that scattered. I assume this is one of those culverts. I could be wrong, but and you see how like calm and peaceful it is. So if he was to army crawl through this while it's raining, when they're not using the thermal imaging during the rain, it's possible. Everything's possible at this point. I would say this guy has been very creative in some sense. He's been able to, his prison escape to begin with was very creative. He managed to somehow, I mean, you guys saw it. That was almost like a scene out of a movie. And some residents were making very valid points. The fact that he was about to be transferred to another prison where he can escape from, his window of escape was running short. As soon as he would be transferred, that thwarts any escape. And yeah, I mean, he can definitely, he is small. He's a small guy, and that's the other problem. He can fit in there. It's probably rather hard to see, but I guess that's not his mission. His mission is to get away, whether he can see or not, you know? So, of course. And again, if the homeowner's watching, let me know if I can go further down, but I'm not going to do that unless you come outside. You'll see Hong on the street. I'm only saying that because a lot of homeowners in this area are actually watching. So if you are, just pop your head out for a second and let Hong know. But I'll take you guys closer to. Let's see what we got going on down here. But generally speaking, we don't concentrate on the checkpoints and stuff like that. It's highly unlikely that the guy's going to pop out of a checkpoint. It's highly unlikely that the guy would pop out of a checkpoint. Thank you. But again, we just don't know. I'm going to send a text right now and ask if there's any update. Let me drop my pin. Somebody's nearby. Sorry guys, give me a second. So, let me text the other track. So, at 5:13, it appears that authorities have nothing. That was an exact thing. Like, there's nothing. And right now, it's just general procedure that you guys have been seeing for days now. Nothing's changed. It's the same amount of troopers here going down the road, and I'm assuming it's throughout the entire gardens, which is quite interesting given the fact that when he's at Water Glen, they surround it, and then he finesses his way out of the perimeter to Longwood. And then when they see him at Longwood, he goes out of the perimeter, they reopen, and then he's back at Longwood. So you have to put yourself in, put yourself in the shoes of law enforcement. They too are very confused as to how this guy manages these little evasive maneuvers of getting out of that airtight perimeter. It's visibly a heavy perimeter. They were in the woods. There are guys on the ground, but some resources have been scaled back until they need to pull them back in. They're on standby. And by standby, I mean if something happens, like say they have a possible sighting, they're ready to be here in about 10 minutes. But there is no activity as far as sightings, spottings, scent picked up. There's none of that. I guess they're just working to clear the area to eventually reopen Longwoods, and I imagine they're going to hold off on that until either they at least minimize his ability to hide by chopping down the greenery. And here's a helicopter, which has been circling since I got here. But that doesn't mean that there's something seen. And you guys are experts, I think, at this point. Just because you see a helicopter or just because you see law enforcement, you know that that's normal. They're here to keep their presence. They're here to let. Their goal is if he's in the woods, is they want to keep him in the woods, and that's a fact. That's something that we know. They want to make sure he stays in that area so that way they can push him towards law enforcement coming from the other direction. But there is no real update as of today. It's been a very boring day, but we're used to that because I didn't hear about a truck. Um, it's very boring, but for the most part, we've had very boring days and very, I want to say, I don't want to say exciting nights, but active nights with activity and possible sightings and a police response. That's just not it today. So, and that's what I'm thinking too. That Texas Brat Brat, it said that the area that we were in last night, um, that's an area that we might revisit maybe today, and we'll keep it going the stream as we head there. But that's my point. A lot of the times when they say he's in a specific region that's surrounded, it's actually quite the opposite. He's actually in another area. They were wrong before. They they could be mistaken again, but we just don't know. We don't know. We're not them. They have a good reason to believe he's in that 1,000 plus acre property, which is the size of a small town. So it makes sense as to why they believe he's in. Now there's no press conference, and I believe they're holding off due to the new footage. I don't know. I don't know what their tactic is. All I know is that maybe they're just focusing on the case, you know. And again, when I say maybe, that's just opinion. I don't know. There hasn't been a press conference that I know. The last press event was the coffee and snacks at the command center, and I believe that was yesterday morning. And you guys can see the helicopter. It's really just doing what it's been. Let me send. Yeah, there's no update. Nothing. I assume it's the police, and if it is the media, like I said a couple days ago or yesterday, the news was asked to actually bring their resources as well, and they did. Uh, I believe it was Action News and NBC that brought their helicopters yesterday to assist in the manhunt, not to film, to assist with extra eyes in the sky. That was the purpose of them yesterday. They were there to do that, and they did. They helped, and that costs. They're doing that out of generosity. You know, the network has to pay for the pilot and the fuel, so they are helping, but it's yielding no luck today. At least there was some luck yesterday, and we've been getting lucky. Not us, but law enforcement. They've been catching leads and getting solid spottings, but it's a tough area, and those of you that are from here understand that it's kind of a tough terrain that makes it almost like a paradise for a fugitive. It's very hard to um, really be seen. And here's the helicopter. It's really just, it's doing its rounds as it's been doing. And I know I don't, like, typically we don't stay around. I'm saying this again, I sound like a broken record. There's 1,000, or not 1,000, there's like 8 cameras here. So this spot is generally covered, and our goal is to try to cover additional spots. But right now, this is really about it. This is the most active area, and we're gonna stay here for a little bit, maybe wait the storm out, and head to maybe Mendenhall area, check out the region. And I want to maybe, I think Hong is working to reach out to that homeowner that owns the property that he was allegedly spotted at by a passerby who called 911. We're going to ask them for permission to go to, yeah, and that's our goal. We're not going anywhere near. Safety is obviously the priority, and then also making sure that there's no interference. The last thing we want to do is be the reason why this guy doesn't get caught, you know. So there's no interference. Safety is the utmost of the utmost importance, and not just to us, for the locals that are watching. We don't want them to take it as let's take this into our own hands. And no, the police has a heavy presence, and they're the professionals. And it's not just the police that are here. You have federal agents, tactical teams, marshals, and the list goes on. So, and you guys can see that there's a lot of members of the community that are even coming here to hang out and see what's going on. They want answers. They want to get out a little bit from the home they've been holed up in for. We're in day 10 now, so it's a stressful time for law enforcement and the community. Kids can't go out and play as much as they were able to before there was a killer on the loose, and that is the drainage pipes, the sewer lines, the culverts, the creeks, the streams, the river, the tracks. Those are all good places for an escapee to utilize to their advantage and make moves. Now, like we said last night, his zigzag pattern is becoming quite bizarre, and now we're wondering, where will the next sighting be? Will it be at Longwood again? Will it be at Waterglen? Will it be at Lenape? Will it be near Mendenhall in that area? That's the only landmark that I know there, so bear with me, I'm not from there. But I think we are as curious as law enforcement as to where he'll pop up next. Everything on this in this manhunt has been kind of it's been taking turns left and right from the outset. It started with the escapee going toward Wawasset Farm Lane, something to that effect, and then from Wawasset Farm Lane by the Carco, and then the Carco to the Waterglen, and then from the Waterglen to the Lenape, and then from Lenape to Longwood, and then from Longwood, I believe. See, I might be getting it a little bit mistaken because it's so many different patterns, but they're all in the same vicinity. Because he went to Longwood, they didn't find him. They opened it back up. They searched the night before at near Waterglen, I believe it was, in that area, Lenape maybe, and he was seen on camera at 5:30 at night, or I mean, they picked up the footage at 5:30 at night on Wednesday that showed him there. Okay, that's a mistake. I think they picked up the footage at Thursday at 5:30, and it showed him there Wednesday overnight. So he had almost maybe a 16-hour head start by the time they were able to pull that footage and send it. You know, and and you guys have been great by visiting Carco. There's been a lot of you that have been going there that wouldn't generally go there because it's not in your direct route of travel, but that just shows that this community is supporting one another. They're coming together at a time when they kind of have to. I mean, this is the definition of like small town America. It's a tight-knit community, though it appears to be so large. When stuff like this happens, it really shrinks and you get to meet so many people and they all meet each other. And from there, they get to know new people, meet new friends. So there's a little bit of positive that comes out of this, but really, they want this to be over with. They are tired, much more tired than we are, and much more tired than law enforcement, much more tired than anybody is the community. They're restless. They can't sleep at night. They have to worry about a brutal murderer lurking around their area. Now, I know law enforcement had said before that it's not believed that he will attack because he wants to not get caught. He doesn't want to be spotted. He wants to get away. But when people get desperate, one of the neighbors was saying, when you're desperate, you do desperate things. And we're hoping that it doesn't get to the level of desperation where he does something drastic, because that's not going to be a good ending for him regardless, and we don't want anybody else to get hurt. So at this point, again, for those of you that are just joining us, there are no updates today. We're going to stay here again until about 3 a.m. in case something pops off, because that's usually the time between like midnight and 3 is when there's activity. We've noticed for the most part of this investigation, it's been in that like 3-hour window. Yesterday was the first time we had activity like that during the day. Typically it's at night. And the days are turning into nights, the nights are turning into days. It goes very quick. And I don't know if it's the same for the residents. I don't know if it feels slower for them, but um, the days have been going rather quickly. It doesn't feel like we're on day 10, at least for us. Um, Maybe it's because we're continuously on the ground. It feels like it's only been a couple of days, but maybe for the community, every thank you. Every everybody feels like every day could be. It feels like a week or a month. You know, they can't. They canceled their holiday weekend. That was a major blow. Kids went back to school, had to come home to a armed perimeter. Um, Limit like the movement is like sort of restricted. It's hard. Not that they can't get out. Nothing. Yeah, they're parked within because there's no space. But there's really the restrictions are kind of crazy. Like yesterday, it took us 15 or so minutes to get to Walmart, and it was like a 4-minute drive, 5-minute drive. So when you have parents that want to take their kids to their friend's house to play, it would go from like a maybe a 10-minute drive to a 30-minute drive, and then they have to deal with, well, are they going to be outside? Are they safe? What if he's seen in the area? Then I can't get back in, you know. So it's a very difficult time for families out here to have um, any sense of freedom of their own. It's almost like they are also confined to their homes, um, glued for updates. And it's obvious that they want updates. I mean, we were live at 3 a.m. staring at a sign, and there were like 600 or 700 of you guys on there. And before that, we were staring at a spotlight with like 12 or 1,300 people. Well, on my end, it was 1,300, but the numbers at the end of the night were like 60,000 people that just watched from the community a spotlight. And that shows that they are hungry for answers and they want to know what's going on. But the issue is there really isn't anything going on. And whenever something does happen, we try to make sure that we verify anything. Well, we verify everything that we put out, but when I see information coming from other places, I screenshot it and I send it over to a few law enforcement sources and ask true or false, and they just respond with a T or an F, you know. So that way we can limit rumors and speculation as far as, for example, gunshots or a capture. Like some people were saying yesterday, they caught him, and that's a very strong word to use because it puts people to ease, and then you're gonna really giving them high hopes, and then you kick them in the head, you know, when it's not made out to be true. And it's also dangerous. You don't want somebody to put their guard down and it turns out the guy is in their backyard, you know. Yeah, so I'm trying to find out the best what do you guys want to see, so I could take you around, but it's a very limited spot right here. And well, let me see if the other resident got back to us. But it's a very actually, let me walk up this way because I see some people that I'll find out. Let me call them. Give me a second. But like we're thinking of likely going on another tour, but we showed you guys kind of just about everything there is to tour. We saw Lenape, we saw Water Glen. It would be interesting to kind of get our feet wet and go in a safe area that we can kind of like show you the way we did with the corn. Not like when we were across the street from that homeowner and we showed you the example of when somebody ducks down and when somebody gets up. And that's really the only kind of stuff that we have to fill in the gaps with between the updates. You know, when an update comes in, we jump right to that. But there's nothing to report right now. And a lot of you guys have been asking that we just stay live, even if it's just crickets. And since that's the overwhelming consensus, and it's not that I've been reading that on social media, that's what I've been told in person by a lot of these residents time and time again today and throughout the past 10 days is even if the stream is quiet, they just want to watch something live and know that other people are up and about and see any activity if there is any, and if there isn't, they just want to, I guess, feel like they're there and they're not alone, you know. And I'm starting to get that vibe from quite a few. I mean, residents every single day. We're talking dozens that are just asking to see what's going on. They don't feel like driving 30 minutes out. Some of them live 30 minutes out. Some of them live right around the corner. Every neighborhood we're in, typically we run into a neighbor that's watching. I'll take you guys up here. But there really is not much. So yeah, they're doing that. Like we said, they're going to be doing that for quite some time. They're asking for people to go into harvest season sort of early, just to limit the points of his hiding spots, and that'll help limit any hiding spots. But there are no sightings today. The last sighting was yesterday. There were two of them, one from the FBI, one from PSP. FBI was in the sky, PSP was on the ground in the immediate area of Longwood and the two construction sites. When we first arrived here, the troopers were standing out. Oh, they still are. So it's essentially the same scene that you guys saw quite some time ago. And you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't see past the bend, but there's at least 5 here. And then we counted about 5 or so there. And this is just one little roundabout. And I'm assuming it's the same going around the loop. How many stations? There's quite a few. Mostly, I think there's 2 local stations and a few, maybe 2 national stations that are here. But we haven't seen any solid updates come through, at least. Other than we have nothing right now. And that's what I heard in the group chat, is that there's nothing happening right now. But that can change. Yesterday it changed rather quickly. Hold on, let me grab a charger. One sec. But yesterday that changed rather quickly, and it became kind of like a madhouse when they found out that there was a sighting from the sky and from the ground. It went from 0 to 100 rather quickly. But hold on, guys, let me grab a charger just so we're not dead midstream. And again, we're gonna hang out here for a little while. Probably, I want to say, I don't want to give a time frame because I don't know how long it's going to take to hear back from some of the neighbors. Let me plug in. Are you able to run an extension cord to like under the tree? Can we run an extension cord to under the tree? All right. So we're going to set up under this little tree for now. I'm going to go through my text as we're sitting here so I can see if there are any areas that locals would like us to hit, so we can check those out. But as far as activity, you're seeing it. And on the way here, we saw police around the entrance of Longwood, and that's something that we've been seeing for days. But let's see. Oh, the wall. I'm not going to cross the street, but that's the wall I'm talking about. It's not this specific section. I don't know this specific section. I believe it's on Longwood Road. Is that what? Let me see which way that goes. So yeah, it would be down this way. So the wall, the chunk of wall came from down over here on this road. And it wasn't, no, that's a separate one. So there were 2 issues with the wall. One of it is law enforcement ran it over. Let's probably go like right over here. Law enforcement, and we'll bring the slider to right here too. Law enforcement ran it over, the one wall, like they hit it, but that wasn't the section that we're talking about. The other section was down the road more. And authorities seem pretty confident that they have him in this general vicinity. Again, for the, I guess this would make it the second time, but they've been here now for quite a few days. I don't have, I know yesterday they shut it. No, it was 2 days ago that they shut it down. So they've been here for some time. Go over here. Yeah, if we stay here, I don't know how long we're gonna stay out here, but yeah, we're just gonna look for a better area with less people. We don't need to be in the same spot as everything, you know. And according to, and there's another trooper coming down. But according to today, like as far as today goes, there have been no sightings whatsoever by law enforcement, or I don't believe the public either have made any sightings. So it's been a rather slow day, but that's normal. We've seen, yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. So that's why we're gonna head out of here soon, given the fact that there's so many people here. Let me just put this on a tripod real quick so I can charge it up and make sure we're good to go for when we head out. But our plan is going to be to do another spot. We're just here for right now, the time being, waiting for a few texts to come through. But there really is nothing to update. It's a slow day, guys. Again, like I know it's a slow day for a fact. Everything that we've said the past 10 days, I don't have to explain myself. I mean, people that have been watching, you guys know. It's been on point. We told you about the 2 sightings yesterday, which was confirmed today. So, again, we were told by multiple law enforcement sources that there really is nothing to report. They have no updates, which is probably why they're not giving any press conferences. I don't know when they plan to release the surveillance footage from Longwood. I would imagine that's going to be soon. But we just don't know. We really don't know. And the update is that there is no update, except yesterday's 2 sightings. So we're gonna maybe go that way and figure out how. No, I don't think the festival wasn't canceled. Let me see if I can. All right, no, I can't. But no, the festival wasn't canceled or anything. It was essentially it's going on as usual. I imagine. A few people actually said, I think it was yesterday or the night before, that they were going. So I don't believe it's canceled. But yeah, he is. For right now, bear with us as we the leprechauns. So the perimeter is so weird. We don't know what the perimeter really is at this point. I want to say there are multiple perimeters. Like we kind of counted 2 or 3. Yeah, we are just right now because this is the best spot to meet and figure out best place to go, which as of right now is gonna be right here for the time being. Let me find out if there's literally nothing. I've been texting. We've all been going back and forth, and there's no information that's new today. The only new information that when there is a press conference that we'll hear is the new footage from Longwood Gardens, and that was Wednesday night, overnight, and we'll hear about yesterday's 2 sightings, one from the FBI and one from the state police. And we'll hear about that maybe tomorrow, or like I said, when I told you guys that, I said, you're hearing it now, but in about 3 days, it'll be made, is when they'll start reporting about it. And information like that doesn't hinder any sort of an investigation. Um, I don't know why they're not releasing the footage, and that's something that they'll do. I'm very confident. You want to see the hole? Let the phone charge a little bit, and we'll head over. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not, like, again, guys, our plan isn't to hang out here. We were going to head out to another spot, but waiting for a few people to get back to us, and I didn't want to leave you guys hanging for that long, so I decided to just make sure we set up and go live. That way you guys know that we're still here trying to figure out where exactly. The best bet is I'm going to see if I can get permission from this guy to go on the property. So bear with me for a second. Let me see if I can grab Hong to come over here and hang out.
Hey guys, just to let you know, Nick will be right back. He's trying to ask one of the neighbors see if we could go to the backyard and take a look at like the creek for you guys to make an understanding on like how the woods and how the creeks operate in the area. No, it's like Hong Kong. You guys are good. It's fine. Like I don't really bothered about names or anything like that. Again, that was a PSP helicopter, a state trooper helicopter. It's been flying by for the past couple of hours. They're just going in the circle in the area of Longwood Gardens. Um, the way that they're set up with this perimeter around the whole Longwood Garden seems to me that like they're pretty sure like he's in there. And what's crazy is that like this tactic is like this tactic is similar like you're going to a zoo and you're watching like you're going to the zoo and you're watching animals and like the area and their habitat, and that's what they're trying to push him to. Is like I I have a strange feeling where like they might get him in Longwood Gardens. Like it's just a matter of time, because the way that this tactic is like they don't want him to go into the woods anymore, because as you can see the past couple of days it's kind of hard to like navigate through the woods and like find this guy, and like they really want to push him into an area where like it's easier for the police to operate. So like this is like you're watching this tactic live right now. Wow, like I have a New York accent? I didn't know that. That's funny. Yes, Nick actually went to see if we could get approval to go into the woods and the creek so you guys could get a better understanding on how it looks like. And like I'm just here with you guys just to make sure that like letting you guys know that he didn't go anywhere or anything like that. Yeah. Sure. Yes, so I was told today, so like yesterday, if You could yesterday on live, we caught a glimpse of like the huge tractor with like both blades on each side, cutting down the I'm assuming the grass, and like there was a trooper there that was stationed, and like today I was told from a residence by in the area where they live in Longwood Gardens is that like they started cutting down all the corn, and early the earliest for corn harvest season is in October, so like I'm guessing Longwood the garden at this point doesn't care about anything and just starting to cut down everything and trying to see if they could help the troopers end this as fast as possible. So his last name is kind of like funny, like to pronounce, like Hedziestastio. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's Greek. It took me 2 years to get something this close, but like yes. Yeah. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I don't want to bother. I just fellow Greek, so.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of residents that are out here that really wants to know like what's going on. So like it's kind of start turning into a block party, kind of sort of. There, I don't think there has been